Hello Year 7. Before you start, make sure that you've read this slide really carefully and make sure that you've read the instructions and you understand that any slide in pink is a slide that you have to do something and hand some work in. Okay, remember that you can always ask your teacher for help by posting on Teams if you need them. Okay, so today's lesson is all about circuit symbols and diagrams, so something for you to think about. So in science, both of these things are called a cell. So the top picture you'll recognise from a topic that you did earlier in the year, that's an animal cell. And then the bottom one is a cell. You might have called it a battery before, but in science we call it a cell. So can you think of any similarities and differences between them? So pause the video now or pause the slideshow and have a think and see if you can think of any similarities or differences. Okay, so hopefully you did. Obviously, the bottom cell, the battery cell, is made of like metal and chemicals and things like that, whereas the other cell isn't made of things like that. So that's a bit of a difference. However, one thing that's really similar about them is that the animal cell has mitochondria, and mitochondria release energy from respiration. It's a bit similar to what a cell does, an electrical cell. Electrical cells also provide energy, so that's a similarity. Okay, so what are circuits? So circuits allow energy to flow when they're complete, when there's no gaps in them. We can represent circuits using symbols and diagrams, and each component can be represented by a different symbol. And there's a photo of a circuit there that someone's built, and there's some diagrams to represent circuits too. So circuits can be quite complicated. So if you look on the right side, this massive messy diagram, that's a circuit diagram, and that's for something really complicated. I think that's, I don't know, I'm not actually 100% sure what it's for, but it's something that's very complicated. So because they can get so complicated, it's really important that people can understand and recreate them correctly. So we use diagrams like that to make sure that they're always clear. If I were to draw a picture of a circuit, someone might understand it, but someone else might look and have no idea what I was talking about. So we need a clear diagram to make sure that everyone can understand. So if you look at these two images of a bulb, you've got like one that's been drawn and one that's using straight lines, like solid lines. Which image do you think is the most useful? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. So a drawing of a bulb could look completely different depending on who's drawn it. I could draw one and it would look totally different to if someone else had drawn one. However, the symbol is always the same and it's really simple to draw. So anyone anywhere in the world would know that that is a bulb. Okay, so these are the circuit symbols that you need to know. So you need to have a read of this slide and make sure you've read it really carefully before you attempt the task. So in the middle, there are 9 circuit symbols that you need to know. And what I've done is around the symbols, I've annotated what each one does. So some of them you might recognise and some of them you might not. So you've got a switch, and a switch can be used to turn a circuit on or off. And then you've got a lamp. It's pretty obvious what a lamp does. You probably know this one already. There's something inside a lamp called a filament, and when current flows inside the filament, the lamp gets hot and glows really brightly. You've got a resistor, which makes it difficult for current to flow, slows current down, which it doesn't sound like a useful thing, but it can be very useful. A variable resistor is a resistor that can be adjusted, so it can provide more or less resistance. A motor can be used to make something move. You've got an ammeter and a voltmeter. They're both used to measure potential difference for a voltmeter, and an ammeter measures current. And then we've got the ones that I think people always get confused with. So a cell is just one cell, okay? But a battery is more than one of them, okay? And the cell gives energy or a push to the current in the circuit. So it forces the current around the electrical circuit. So what you need to do now is go to the task booklet that's been uploaded onto Teams as an assignment, and you need to complete questions 1 to 3 in the booklet. So go and do that now and then come back to the video when you've finished. Okay, hopefully you did that and hopefully you got an okay. Remember, if you get stuck, you can always go back through the slides if you've forgotten something. Okay, so there are two types of circuits, series and parallel. I'm going to show you an example for both. So this is going to show you how to draw a circuit diagram. So this circuit, as an example, is a series circuit and it's got a battery and 3 bulbs that are connected together. So if you look on the right, there's a diagram there, and that shows you how it should be drawn. So you've got your battery, and they've used the correct symbols for the battery and the bulb. They've used a pencil and ruler to draw the whole thing, but the wires have been drawn with a ruler, and the wires meet at right angles in the corner. So it should always be that square or rectangle shape. Similar with a parallel example, this is a circuit that's got a cell and 2 bulbs connected in parallel. So the way you remember it is that the branches look like parallel lines. So you've got different components that have been put on different branches in the circuit. The wires still meet at right angles, the correct symbols have still been used, and they've still used a ruler and pencil. All of those things are still really important. So last task, this is what you need to do now. So go back to your booklet, again, that's been uploaded on Teams. You can do these either on paper and attach photos, or if you feel really confident using a computer, it's totally up to you. You can do them using a computer. Completely fine either way, okay? If you're doing them at home and you haven't got a ruler, try and find something that's a straight edge that you could use to draw against, okay? So complete task 4, this is your apply task, and then come back to the slides when you've finished. Okay, very last slide for today. So what question we want you to consider for next lesson is, how would your life be different without electricity? So have a think about that, and we'll see you for the next lesson. Bye.